Hello and welcome to the beginning of the fourth parak of Maseches Beitzah. This is where the action really picks up. Fourth parak of Beitzah is known internationally as the parak of the people.
That's right, Bob, and we're here to start that parak today.
The parak of the people talks about issues that come up every day on Yom Tov to get you prepared for the next Yom Tov. When's the next Yom Tov? A long time. Beitzah. You have 6 months.
No. Thanksgiving. No.
Thanksgiving, right? It's true. The next Yom Tov is Thanksgiving.
It's not a real. That's not a major holiday, right?
Shmuel actually travels to Turkey on Thanksgiving. In
Why
honor,
would I
he doesn't
travel?
eat a turkey. He travels to Turkey.
I get it.
He travels to Turkey, and sometimes some years he actually goes bowling. He tries to get 3 strikes in a row to get a turkey.
What's that?
He's not usually successful. When you get 3 strikes in a row in bowling, it's called turkey.
Oh, that's pretty big. No.
Yeah. So sometimes Shmuel sets up 10 turkeys in his house. I think some and throws it at the turkeys.
That would be very
Throws at
cruel.
the turkey.
That would be cruel.
He gets Brunswick. Brunswick is the company that makes the bowling balls in the bowling alleys. He's talking to them about negotiating no more wooden pins. You know, those pins are made out of wood, actually. No more wooden pins. So it's a bowling ball made out of wood. No more. He's gonna, in honor of Thanksgiving, he's gonna actually make bowling pins made out of turkey.
What does that mean? Yeah, turkey.
You're gonna buy turkeys, frozen turkeys from the supermarket.
You really like that.
This is a good joke. It's a good one. It's great to have Shmuel back. I mean, telling you, I said to my wife last night, I said, I have a month worth of thumbnails from all the videos I made in the past month, the Yom Noraim, ever since Slicho started about a month ago. And I don't remember having one thumbnail where I actually smiled. It's good. Yesterday's thumbnail, I actually smiled. YouTube caught me smiling. And I'm glad that my smile is back, and especially to have Shmuel back. It always brings a smile to my face.
Thank you.
We have so much
can
fun
make
together.
turkey jokes
So
about
much
me.
laughs.
You're waiting to make some turkey jokes.
We're gonna have a good Thanksgiving share when Thanksgiving comes, and when Thanksgiving is, Shmuel.
When?
When does it fall out?
I don't know. Sometime in February.
Which week of November?
The third week.
The last week. The last week of November, the last Thursday in November, is Thanksgiving. We're gonna have a special Thanksgiving edition. We're gonna show pictures of Turkey, the country Turkey, and Trojan. Pictures of the Prime Minister, the Recep, the Trojan, in his pajamas. I'm joking.
What does that mean?
I don't know. I said that. I think he has pajamas. I don't know. Some people go to sleep in their clothes, in their suits. But most people have pajamas. Anyway, we're gonna have pictures of Turkey. Izmir. Izmir was where it's a famous city in Turkey. It was famous for the false Messiah. You know the false Messiah. What was his name?
False Messiah.
You remember, like 400 years ago, there was a false Messiah.
Yes.
Where was he from? What was his name? Shabsai Tzvi. Shabsai Tzvi was a false Messiah. He was from Izmir, from Turkey. So we're gonna recount stories about Shabsai Tzvi. Rabbi Shabsai Tzvi.
I don't even think he deserves to be
We're
spoken
gonna talk about his biography.
It was a terrible tragedy.
I think he converted to Islam afterwards.
It was
Actually,
a tragedy for Jews all over the world.
so we're gonna talk about that. It's part of Turkey's rich history. We'll talk about actually how you bake a turkey, with which juices and which seasonings, and which sauces you put on your turkey when you.
Okay, we have to start talking.
And also, we're going to talk about. We're going to predict.
Now.
We're going to have our predictions for the football games on Thanksgiving. Dallas Cowboys always. Well, the two teams always play on Thanksgiving. Do you know this? Which two football teams always play on Thanksgiving?
The Mavericks.
No. Actually, you're right. I mean, it's from Dallas, but what's the football team name?
You just said it.
Dallas is the
Dallas
city. No, Dallas is the city. The Dallas Mavericks is the basketball team from Dallas. The football team from Dallas is what? called America's team. Come on, this is the most famous football team there is.
Well, famous
Dallas
football.
Cowboys. The Dallas
Ah.
Cowboys play, and also the Detroit Lions also play. Um,
Okay, let's get back
all
to
right, let's go.
our
We
food.
gotta go soon. I gotta pick my daughter from Gan. Time is constrained over here. All right, the end, the beginning. We didn't even say Hadron from yesterday's parak. Hadron Allah Ein Sadin. The third parak is over. Time to begin the fourth parak. Maybe Kerayayin, the bottom of Chaftan Amad Beis. Maybe Kerayayin Makom Makom. He wants to bring kegs or jars or bottles of wine from one place to another place. He has them stored in his garage or in his machsan storage room. He wants to bring them to his table. Loivim Basal Gupo. You can't bring them in a basket, a big basket, or a big box. It looks like Uvin Dechola. Well, maybe Hu Al Ksefo. You could bring it on your shoulder. You can load it on your shoulder. That doesn't look like so much Uvin Dechol. The fun over you can hold it in your hand. And you want to bring straw. Again, to light a fire. Lo yafshil es akupa la chorav. You shouldn't load it onto your back. Al meviyahu biyad. You can bring it in your hand. Maschilin, top of lamed aleph, barimas hateven. You can begin a new pile of straw. You can start taking it. As you have a pile of straw in your backyard, you can start taking it. It's not considered muksa. Avalo be'etzim from muksa. You can't take pieces of wood that were in the muksa that were in your storage area. We'll see. The Reisha seems to contradict the Seifa. The Reisha seems to say there is no problem muksa, and the Seifa seems to say there is a problem muksa. We'll see how we resolve that in the Gemara. The Gemara says, Tana, if you can't do a shino, and the Mishnah says you're supposed to do a shino, you're supposed to take it, the bottles of wine in your hand or on your shoulder, not supposed to take it in a box. It looks too much to in the cold. If you can't, there's no way you could do it. You have a lot of guests, and you really have to get them the wine quickly, or the bottles of Coca-Cola quickly. It's mutter. You don't have to make a shino. Asking Rava Mechuzah. Rava made a takan Mechuzah the daro bedukka. People that would carry with exertion, our school says, l'daru baragla. They should carry with, instead of carrying with a big box or a big bag or a big basket, they should carry with this contraption. They call it a pitchfork. The article. It seems like two wooden beams, and it have a place to put your head in, and you're able to rest the wooden beam on the floor. And you put the boxes or the cases of wine on this wooden beam.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't sound such a big deal. You're able to rest yourself. It's not so much within the chol, not so much tircha. L'daru rigla, people that actually already did that during the week. L'daru ba'agra, they should use a pole spread across two people's shoulders. L'daru ba'agra, in a place where they carry with poles across the two people's shoulders. L'daru ba'achva, they should use a pole. A single person is able to hold a pole around the shoulders, I guess, and load things on it. L'daru ba'achva, if during the week they use a single pole, nifra sudra, you can't make other shinois, at least put a handkerchief on top of it to look like a shino. Even though efshar, if there's no, you don't have a handkerchief, shari. It's mutter. The amar mar mi efshar l'shana is mutter. These are only things l'chachila, but the eved, we don't worry about tirach and uvdin dechol because it's ochel nefesh. Amar lei Rav Chanan bar Rava, Ravashi emar Rabbanan kamad efshar l'shnei mashina b'yom hatava. The Rabbanan said as much as you can do a shinoi from uvdin dechol, from making it look like a weekday activity, you should make a shinoi. V'hani nashi the kamalian chatzvayim maya b'yom hatava. There are women we know that fill up pails of the water. They go to the well. They fill up pails of water on Yom Tov, big pails of water. Mashnayin, they don't make any shinoi. No one rebukes them. No one gives them muster. They should tell the woman to do a shinoi. He says the reason don't rebuke the woman is because they can't make a shinoi. What can they do? The woman that use big buckets. You want to tell them to use small buckets. They're going to have to make more trips to the well. The ones that fill with small buckets, they're going to have to. It's going to be heavier each bucket. Maybe they should cover it with a wooden cover. Maybe it's going to fall off. Come carry Dalet Amos Sharabim. Now, there's no problem carrying Dalet Amos on Yom Tov, right?
Right.
But I guess this is a total shalom sarich. Tikturei zim, maybe they should tie it together. Tie the wooden cover on top of the bucket. The zim and the mafsik. Maybe the knot is going to come out. But ask the mikturei. You're going to come to make a knot on Yom Tov. You can't make knots on Yom Tov. Tivra sudrei love. You put a handkerchief on top of it. Zim the mat mishra maya. Maybe it's come wet in water. Ask the schita. They're going to come to squeeze out the handkerchief and be over on the malacha of schita. Hilkach lo efshar. Therefore, they have no way of making a shinur, so we don't say anything to them. Amalei Rava Baruch Han and Abaye Tanan Ein Metafkin Mesafin Marakdin on Chol Moed or Yom Tov. You're not allowed to clap, and you're not allowed to hit your hands against the thighs when you're eulogizing someone. Marakdin, you can't dance. All these things are because you're tikkun. You're going to make a cliche. You're going to make an instrument. We see that people actually do this. We see all the time people on Yom Tov, they're dancing, they're singing. We don't say anything to them. According to your reasoning, a person shouldn't sit next to the lechi. The lechi is the post that you put to make a hecker between you, the mavoi, and the sharabim. Maybe when they're sitting there, the reason we don't let them sit there with things in their hands is because it's gonna fall out of their hands. It's gonna come to carry the anamos back from the shurabim into the mavoi. They take their buckets, they sit on the edge of the mavoi. We don't say anything to them. Ella, what's the reason we don't say anything? It's better that people should be shogeg, they do things inadvertently, and if we rebuke them, they're not going to listen to us, they'll do it amazing anyway. Here also, when it comes to dancing and clapping, on Yom Tov, people are not going to listen to us. You tell them don't dance, they're going to go. They're still going to go to Tol Des Aaron. They're still going to go on Yom Tov, and they're going to go to the Tol. They banned the Tol Des Aaron Simchas Beis Shoeva this year. You know about that? I went there one year. They told us Aaron, it's big Hasidus in Yerushalayim. It's famous for the Simchas Beis Shoeva there. They have this huge hall, and they pack maybe over 1,000 people in there. And I'm telling you, it is physical. If you've ever been in a wrestling match, this is 10 times more wrestling than a wrestling match. In order to keep your balance, you have to really do a lot of practice, you have to copy Nick Walenda for a couple of weeks, walk some tight ropes. I'm telling you, you need balance. You need to go to the weight room before you go to one of these things. And understandably, after what happened in Meron, Karl and Stalin, they closed down the Tol Des Aaron. They made it only available to Tol Des Aaron Chassidim, not to other people. Anyway, if you plan on dancing on Yom Tov, people are not going to listen. The Gemara says, this is only by Din Derabanan about clapping and dancing. Daraisa low, but when it comes to something which is Daraisa, we give them a rebuke, even though they might not listen. The lohi. And the Gemara says it's not really true. Lo shtam Daraisa, lo shtam Derabanan. What's right to Derabanan? Lo amrinu lo midi. The hat Tosefes Yom Kippur. What's the proof to this? Tosefes Yom Kippur is Daraisa. If they ate on Yom Kippur, you shouldn't eat and do malacha. You have to start a couple minutes before Shkia on Erev Yom Kippur. We know that women and certain people eat. They eat right up until Shkia. We don't say anything to them. Even by the rice, Yom Kippur is Raisa. When the pasuk says chi, so we learn that it says chi. So therefore, you learn that part of the ninth day also you have to include in Yom Kippur. Still, they're not going to listen to us. They're going to eat up until Shkia. They're going to stuff themselves with knedalach and krapalach. They're not going to listen. You eat krapalach?
Yes, I eat krapalach.
Krapalach. They're very good. All right, masculine. It's those pieces of pastry dough with some meat inside. Masculine meres hatevan. Tevin. Amar of Kahana. Those meres. The fact that you're allowed to start taking from a pile of straw in your backyard. Masculine. Those meres. Masculine otzar tchila. You can remove from your storage room. You can start taking things out even though you didn't prepare them before. Mani Rabbi Shimon here. The latest name Muksa. Our Mishnah seems to accord to Rabbi Shimon, who doesn't hold of Muksa. And therefore, even though you didn't prepare it, it's considered prepared. We see the end of the Mishnah, but the pieces of wood that you use for firewood, you're not allowed to take that from your storage room. Asna Rehuda, it seems like Rehuda, the Islam Muksa, also Muksa. So my answer is Hachab Arzi Vashucha. The Seif is talking about cedar trees and another type of cedar wood, which is very fancy wood. Askin, the Muksa, Machmas Kasar and Kis. It's very valuable. It's not used for firewood, it's made especially for construction. If you're Rishon Moda, even Rishon's Moda, Muksa Machmas Kasar and Kis, he holds of on Yom Tov and Shabbos. Alternatively, we had this discussion about the Seifa. Avalobe eats and Muksa. The end of the mission says you can't start taking firewood from your machsan, from your garage, from your shed. Amarav Khan is also married. So you see from here that you don't start taking from your otzar that if you didn't prepare it before. And Mani Rabbi Huda, it seems like Mishnah's Rabbi Huda. The Islam Muksa, Amos Reisha. What about the first part of the Mishnah? The line before that in the Mishnah. You can start taking from the straw to feed to the animals or to use as fire as for your to cook with. Asan Reb Shimon. The lace that muksa seems like it's Reb Shimon. Who's our Mishnah? Reb Shimon Yehuda. Hasan b'tam Nasarya. And where it says the Reish Mishnah is talking about decayed straw, which you had in mind already that you plan on using it from Erev Yom Tov. You're not gonna feed it to the animals. You're gonna use it for firewood. Tam Nasarya Hakazi Latina. What do you mean? You could still use it for cement to make cement, and therefore maybe you didn't have in mind to use it. And where it says the Isbei coats him. And where someone is talking about there's thorns there, so for sure you had in mind, even though the Mishnah is Rabbi Yehuda would be Moda, you for sure had in mind to use this decayed straw. You plan on using it for firewood on Yom Tov. And you had in mind at the beginning of Yom Tov. We'll move on to Lamed Amud Beis. Mishnah says, you can't take wood from the sukkah. A sukkah is a hut here, not necessarily a sukkah for sukkahs. We just passed sukkahs. A hut they used to make, whether it was Pesach or sukkahs, not made for the mitzvah of sukkah. But you could take from the thing that are adjoining to it. We'll see what that means. Why can't you take from the actual hut? If you take from the walls, you take from the roof of the wood on Yom Tov, you're being social, you're dismantling an oel. You're not allowed to do that on Yom Tov. Also, the additional wood, we think we're talking about over here, there's extra wood on top on the roof. It's also you're weakening the roof. It's also being soser a little bit. We're talking about extra wood that was stacked next to the walls. Having a thicker wall is not of significant importance. Having a thicker roof is of significant importance. So it keeps out rain. A wall, you don't need to be so thick. So therefore, it's not considered part of the wall, and it's not considered soser. Even if you could say that it's on the roof, it's not next to the wall. The Mishnah was talking about bundled up pieces of wood, and therefore, since it's tied up, it's not considered part of the roof. It's not considered a soser. Tanya Rabbi Yosef come into Rabbi Yochanan, ain't notlin etzem in a sukkah elam in a samukla, like the Mishnah says. Rabbi Shimon matir. Shimon allows you. He allows you to take even seemingly from the sukkah, from the hut. V'shavim sukkah chag b'chag. And sukkah, we just had sukkahs, sukkah made for the mitzvah of sukkahs she'asura. That you can't take. Even Rabbi Shimon his mother, you can't take him. His tell kol fi to know. But if you made a t'nai, then the t'nai would help you, allow you to take from the schach or the wood of the sukkah. Rabbi Shimon matir. So the Gemara first tries to analyze this part. Rabbi Shimon matir. Rabbi Shimon allows you to take from a regular hut on Yom Tov. But like we said, you're being soser, you're destroying the hut. We're talking about a sukkah that fell down on Yom Tov. Shimon he has a hold of muksa, it fell down already, so you're not soser. So what's the problem? Muksa. He doesn't hold of muksa. Deciding Mosar Hashem and Shabnei Shabakara Aser. Shimon matir. Let's say you had leftover oil. You light your Shabbos candle, Yom Tov candles, and you have oil left over after extinguished after the flame went out. So therefore, the shemen it was huksa for a malacha, but now the malacha is over. You can just take the oil. Huksa the mitzvah, huksa for the malacha of havara. He says you can take it afterwards. Shimon matir. So then where's to be dummy? What's the connection? Hasam nami hasam adam yoshev umitzape masay techabe nero. Therefore, he's expecting his candle to he's expecting to be leftover oil. Hachadam yoshev mitzape masay tipol sukkah. He thinks his hut's going to fall down. He's not anticipating that. So even Rishon would agree that's considered not mukhan. It's muksa. Rishon was talking about a sukkah which is dilapidated, which is about to fall down. The esfal died de. Therefore, it falls down, so there's no soser, there's no muksa because he had das for it. Sham sukkah sachag shebachag shiasura. If he's telling that go feed no. Me mahani but tonight the Gemara says, does it tonight really help? Amar of sheish mishim Rabbi Akiva minan la'atzi sukkah she'asurim kol shiva. The wood of your schach is usher all 7 days to get enough from it, even if it falls down. All right, he says Chag HaSukkos. So in Hashem, it sounds like all of the sukkah is for Hashem. Tanya Rabbi Yehuda ben Seirah also says, just like hektish is chal on a korban chagiga, it's also chal on the schach of your sukkah. It connects chag and sukkah to Hashem. Just like a chag, a chagiga is Hashem, af sukkah Hashem. Amar Rav Shabrei the Rava, seifa asan l'sukkah da alma. He says, the sefer where it says that you can hakol feet no, that's not talking about a sukkah of sukkahs, the atzei sukkah of a real sukkah shel mitzvah. It's talking about a hut. If you prepared and you said, if the sukkah falls down, I want to use the wood. So then, if it falls down, you can use the wood. It's mukha because you prepared it. Aval sukkah the mitzvah lo mahani batana. So that doesn't help with tonight. But sukkah the mitzvah lo, it doesn't help with tonight. Atanya, Bryce says, you did it a stock kehilchasa the right way. Itra b'kram misadin. You hung up embroidered designs and embroidered fabrics on the wall. And so you are in Vitalaba goes in Shkedim Arasak Remonim, Parchle Anavim, and you hung from the roof of the schach baskets of nuts and almonds and peaches and pomegranates, Anavim, and clusters of grapes, Yenish Shmonim Salsos, wines, oils, flowers, right? Different types of grains. Also, you can't benefit from these, and they're considered tafel, they're considered part of the schach, and it's considered, like just we said, these things are usher. But the Beitzah says if you made it tonight, everything goes according to night. It's okay. By road, number 12 value, but Omer any board of him called ben hashmashos. There was talking about the takshitim, the things that the decorations for your sukkah, and you're saying ben hashmashos. I'm not separating myself from them. I want to use these things of ben hashmashos. Ben hashmashos is when it comes to muksa. It's not going to come muksa because you separated your mind and your dibur from the schach, and it's just decoration. It's not part of the schach. You can't be so ser a sukkah. You can't be so ser a sukkah ben hashmashos because it's a malacha. So therefore, the after the schach itself can't make a tanai. It doesn't help there. So where's the ma'ishtam? How did marhiv for shiva esrogim shiva yomim? What's different than by esrogim? You set aside 7 esrogim 7 days. I'm a rav kol achatz va'achatz yotzei b'avol alter. Each esrog, after you do the mitzvah, you could eat it that day. Rav Asi Amar kol achatz yotzei b'avol l'macha. You yotzei with that esrog that day, and you can eat it the next day, even on sukkah itself. Why isn't that hooked up for 7 days, just like the schach? Why is only for 1 day? Hasam nivskulelos miyamim by an esrog. The mitzvah is not at night, so therefore the nights divide between the days. Kol chad v'chad yoma mitzvah ba'apei navshe. Every day is a mitzvah. It's new mitzvah. Hacha d'lam skulelos yomim. A sukkah is a mitzvah to sleep in the night. Kulu yomei gechad yoma arich tadam. It's like one long day, and therefore it's considered part of your schach, and it's usher for 7 days. Thank you, Shmuel, for joining us. The fun is back. Can't wait for Thanksgiving. Bye. Bye.